Guys, welcome back. We are back talking The Real Housewives of New York, Season 12, Episode 24, which is the third part of the reunion, which is the final episode for the season, which I am excited about because I have had it with The Real Housewives of New York. So, before we get started, you can see that I am outside on my back deck, and the birds and the insects are keeping us company, so hopefully you can hear me and hopefully the wind doesn't pick up because I hate that sound. As soon as I said that, the wind picked up. Anyway, at the end of this video, we're going to talk a little bit about Bethenny. She was on Watch What Happens Live last night after the episode aired, and we're also going to add some Real Housewives updates before we get into the show. I also would like to say that if you are new here, or if you just like to come but you don't subscribe, please subscribe. Help me grow my channel by hitting that subscribe button, hitting the notification bell, giving me a thumbs up, and sharing this video. Alright, now that we've gotten that out of the way, on to housewife updates. Alright, so you probably already know by now that Teddi Mellencamp was let go from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They did not ask her back for next season. Now, I have about 5 or 6 blogs here on YouTube that I like to follow, I like to watch, and majority of them that do cover the Real Housewives were extremely ecstatic about her being fired. Some laughed hysterically for at least 20 to 25 minutes, and I thought, even though I was not a huge fan of Teddi, I'm not gonna laugh at someone being fired. Even though she's rich and famous and I'm sure her life will go on, it's still kind of wrong. Anyway, I am happy that she will not be on the show next season. I didn't really feel that she brought that much to the show. And according to the Daily Mail, which I'm going to say alleged because I don't work for the Daily Mail and I don't know if these things are 100% true. According to the Daily Mail, the network has not been impressed with her performance on the show. The insider told the Daily Mail that they considered cutting her last season, but they gave her one last chance. The insider says she is boring and stale and does not offer anything to the franchise with her robotic and stage delivery with interactions with other cast members. I thought, dang, I mean, tell us how you really feel. That was terrible. Why couldn't the source just say they decided not to have her back? I mean, don't rub salt into this open wound. They also stated that the issue is the other cast members don't particularly like her beyond Kyle Richards. No one is friends with her, says the alleged insider. And when you think about it, all of her scenes are with Kyle. She did have a few scenes this season with Lisa Rinna when they were discussing Amelia and her issue. Otherwise, all of her scenes are either in groups where they all have to be together or just with Kyle. So I guess on a show like this with a huge ensemble cast, you can't really just be friends with one of the girls. Some of the other girls need to like you and be willing to film with you as well. The show is also saying that they do believe that Kyle, Lisa, Erica, and Dorit are all returning for next season. And I'm hoping that we could at least drop Lisa Rinna. But it doesn't look good for us. We also found out that Garcelle says that she is coming back. They talked about it on The Real. We all know that Garcelle is now one of the co-hosts of The Real, and they asked her about it. They asked her earlier, you said that if Denise doesn't come back, you will not come back either. Is that still the case? She replies, you know what? I had a really great time doing the show. It's up to Bravo, but I'm definitely up for a next season. So it seems that she's up to coming back. And I really didn't think she would. Did I want her to come back? Absolutely. I love Garcelle. Do I think that she's probably going to have to up her game when it comes to feistiness, when it comes to being able to spar with these ladies? Absolutely. Because some of these girls, Lisa Rinna, are venomous, and Garcelle is going to have to defend herself. As they have said previously, the second season is the season where they really come for you. And I think this might be Garcelle's turn. Or is it possible that it is Kyle's turn? According to some blog outlets, they are saying that allegedly Kathy Hilton, Kyle's older sister, is thinking of joining the Real Housewives. And they believe that Kyle is not happy about this because her and Kathy don't always get along. Also, Kathy is really good friends with Lisa Vanderpump. So this could cause a little bit of issues with Kyle, which personally I wouldn't mind seeing Kyle on the hot seat. They think that if Kathy comes in, she will absolutely tell everyone all about Kyle's personal business, which has been hidden very well every single season. So I'm interested. Normally I would say I've had enough of these sisters, but Kathy might just be interesting. When the news broke about Teddy not being asked back, Lisa Vanderpump had a little something to say about that. She took to her podcast and, she let her feelings be known. Lisa Vanderpump says, "I don't know, people said because she was boring. I certainly didn't have a good experience with her, so boring would be one of the nicer things I could say." Wow. Okay, Lisa Vanderpump has not forgotten the way Teddy and the rest of the girls got together to ruin her last season on the Housewives of Beverly Hills. That puppy gate is still hanging in there strong. She also threw in something else. She says, "I think there was something of contention about her business," referring to the controversy surrounding that all-in diet program. She says something about 500 calories a day. "I don't know how anybody can survive on 500 calories a day. I think I eat 500 calories between 2:30 and 4:30 a.m. when I'm up at night." Listen, to be honest, if I'm up in the middle of the night, I probably consume 1,000 calories. I don't know. They would have kicked me off of All In. As a matter of fact, I would have removed myself from All In. What do you mean 500 calories a day? Huh. Please, my lunch was 500 calories. I'm thinking Lisa Vanderpump is over Teddy for good. I really wish Lisa would come back to the show. I like her. She really pops with the show. She actually lives in Beverly Hills. She's the richest. She's got all those cute puppies. I mean, bring Lisa Vanderpump back. Get rid of Lisa Rinna. Went out on social media to post a little message to Teddy about leaving the show and how much she cares about her. Bravo posted a message out on social media about Teddy no longer being with the show, and it was a whole lot of comments, and the comments were vicious. I mean, what? People were vicious, and they were excited about her leaving, and I thought, poor Teddy, if she goes on Bravo.com's Instagram, it is not going to end up with a good day. It really isn't. But one thing I did like about Teddy is she went out online and she started out her conversation by saying she doesn't want to bore us, but I thought that was pretty cool. And she told the truth that she was not asked back. She didn't give us the old standard where it was mutual and things like that. So I appreciated that about Teddy. I mean, she went out with dignity and class, and you got to give her that. Now on to the Real Housewives of New York. It turns out that for a while there, Leah had removed all of her information on her social media related to her being a Housewives of New York due to contract negotiations. It turns out that her first season, which was this current season that's just ending, Leah was only paid $3,000 per episode, which totaled out to about $60,000. Which again, all of this is alleged. She actually went into her contract negotiation and she says allegedly they were offering her pretty much the same amount. And she let them know absolutely not. She was good for the show. Fans love her. $3,000 an episode is not going to work for her. And I think that Bravo was wrong for that, because Bravo has come out different publications stating that the next season was going to be based around Leah. Don't base the show around her and then give her $3,000 an episode. Anyway, she has publicly come out on social media stating that she will be back next season. So it seems that Bravo went ahead into the bank and decided to pay Leah something. What she's getting, I have no idea. But at least we're going to have Leah back next season, and I'm happy about it. I really like her. One more thing I forgot to tell you about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Kris Jenner is not joining the cast of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which has been all over the blog stating that she possibly is. She was asked, and she says she thinks that she would be happy to go on the show once in a while to hang out with her friend Kyle, but she is much too busy to join as a regular. There's too much going on in her life and too many things that she needs to do, and she can't be a Real Housewives, which is understandable. I mean, this is Kris Jenner, come on. This woman is running multi-businesses and her entire family. She manages all the girls. Like, she has no time for this. Also in New York housewife news, People magazine is reporting that allegedly motivational speaker Bronson Shaw is joining the cast as the first African-American cast member for The Real Housewives of New York. They say that she has already been filming with some of the girls, and if this is the case, I love it. I like it. However, I'm not really sure who this lady is. I don't know why I've never heard of her before. But I look forward to finding out if she really is joining the cast. It is nice to shake things up every once in a while, to add a little diversity, and just to add different experiences for all of them. So I look forward to seeing what happens. One other thing I noticed about the show, the third part of the reunion, a lot of people were speculating that Dorinda got fired because of her actions this season, but also about her actions on the reunion. And after watching all three parts, I don't think that Dorinda's behavior on this reunion was that bad. Yes, she dodged a lot of things, and she didn't take a whole lot of accountability on the first two parts, but I think on the last and third final part of the reunion, she took some responsibility for her behavior, and she explained a lot of things. So I'm wishing the best for Dorinda, and I'm hoping maybe season 14 she can come back. So the show starts off really funny. I mean, they decided to bring it down a notch and bring back a little bit of fun to the show. They start off with a montage of each girl showing some of the behaviors that they had throughout the season. And Leah found out that she likes to sniff and smell everything. She thought it was hilarious. She says that she didn't realize that she does that. Then Andy shows a montage of Ramona because he says people want to know if you could really call Ramona a good friend. And they show this clip where Ramona is saying that when she's with Sonia, she has to bring herself down. But when she's with other people, she has to elevate. And I thought, that is not a real friend. That is not a statement that a real friend makes. If you are my friend, you definitely wouldn't say something like that. Not out loud and on camera. I mean, if it's true, it's true, but do you have to put me out there like this? You know what I mean? I thought that was kind of mean. When they show this comment, you can hear Sonia in the background. She said, I was on the diuretic. And, you know, I don't want to hear about this diuretic, Sonia. I love you. I really do. Sonia is one of my favorites. But, girl, I don't want to hear about this diuretic, okay? That is not the entire cause of your behavior. Then they replay the clips of Dorinda talking about Ramona getting all of her friends to donate $100 to buy her this bag. And they show the clip of Leah saying that, well, at least she finally has a real Gucci bag and she doesn't have to carry around that fake one.
No, sweetie, they're all real.
Chinatown! Someone
they're
that
all
has
real.
bags doesn't act that excited when they get just a freaking bag. You acted like you've never seen a bag before. It was weird.
Listen, Ramona says she just gets excited. She loves a gift. She's like a kid on Christmas. Me, personally, I do too. If somebody gives me something and I think it's really nice, I really do get excited about it. So, I don't know. I'm on the fence about this. You know, when Leah brings up that Ramona's bag is fake, Sonia screams, Chinatown! It's like, Sonia is too much. And you know what? I love it. There was a fan question where a fan asked Ramona about when she left her own party in the Hamptons to go to another party, and they said, do you realize that you suffer from fear of missing out, FOMO? Sonia says she just wanted to go to that party because she's horny. I mean, okay, Sonia. Andy also asked Sonia about Ramona's 60 friends.
Since I got back.
She did my daughter's
How many times have you seen her?
baby shower. That was 20
How
years
many
ago.
times have you seen her in 2 months? I've seen her 15
I see her all
times.
the time. You work a little harder
You
at
don't
it.
even see
I
me.
get invited by
She-
her. Where are these people gonna be when it's you and me? We're 2 for 1
You don't want to see
martinis
me. They
at the
see
Burger
me.
Heaven.
I work out family do
Nowhere.
Isaac Foods.
2 for 1
I met
martinis.
you at her house. She
It's
did a
you
big
and
cooking
me,
party.
not them. They don't care about you. We'll all chip in $100. You know what I said to the $100? This. I'm not buying you Chanel.
Listen, again, I love Sonia, and I do believe that Ramona has a lot of friends, but I still don't believe that those people are all friends. I think those people are acquaintances. There's no way you can tell me that one person can have 60 good girlfriends and claim to be on the phone with them all the time. Is this one big conference call? Because otherwise I can't keep up with what Susan and Darla and their husbands and wives and friends and kids is doing, and keep up with the other 82 friends. You can't. You know, most people have a core group of friends, which is a small group, not 60. Andy asked Dorinda why she had an issue with a 63-year-old woman throwing herself a party, and Dorinda says she just had the issue because she didn't feel that it was actually genuine or sincere. She knows that Ramona is not friends with all 60 of those women, and she says some of those women she just met. And then Sonia, of course, jumps in and says that Ramona is social climbing. I think she's right. Then there was another fan question for Ramona asking, would a good close friend actually call another friend heavy? They wanted to know why she called Sonia heavy or told Sonia she was overweight.
What? Sonia and I have these voluptuous bodies, and I can go up and down by 10 pounds.
You're looking up right now, but that's all right. And guess what, Andy? That's when I started putting hand to mouth, eating more. I stopped having regular sex with my nephew and children.
That's right.
I was so embarrassed I cried.
Well, now you lost 27 pounds, so
Not
there
because
you
you
go.
shaming me. I had to go to the desert and get connected with my
I didn't
spiritual
shame you. I said
side.
maybe you should lose a few pounds.
Maybe I should get a friend that's a little more
Because
compassionate.
I know you don't want to buy new clothes.
When Sonia said you look a little up right now, I almost spit out my drink. I was right in the middle of drinking some water. Has Sonia had anything to drink tonight? She is on fire. Sonia had so many good one-liners this episode. I mean, she was in it. She had a comment about everything that was Ramona, and I enjoyed it. Then they did a montage of Elise and Ramona's friendship. Now, you know, I think the other girls pretty much liked Elise. I know that Ramona was not a fan, and neither was Luann. However, Ramona says that she believed that Elise would have her allegiance to her. And Andy Cohen said what everybody has been thinking. I even said it a few videos back. Ramona was upset with Elise because Elise did not follow all of Ramona's rules. She didn't stick by Ramona. Ramona was ticked off because Elise actually became friends with the other girls and stood up for herself. That is not what she wanted. She wanted somebody who was going to be a yes ma'am, and Elise was not going to do that for Ramona. She started out doing it, but by the end she realized this was not the way to go. And Andy said was Elise this season's Barbara Kay, which we remember last season Barbara was on the show and she was brought on by Luann, and Luann says yes, and her and Barbara are no longer friends. And Andy said what I think all of us are saying. That's pretty sad because they had a very long friendship, and it sucks that, you know, coming on this reality show, putting your life out there, caused this friendship to break up. Dorinda said she believes that Ramona and Elise's friendship was only a friendship of convenience. She believes that, you know, Ramona is really good with being your friend if it's something in it for her. She thinks that it's mostly just superficial. They then move on to a montage of Sonia this season. And when they went through the montage of all the products that she had thought of creating, was going to create, would be out, all of her ideas, I laughed so hard because she was dead serious about these products. And you know what? I was rooting for that toaster oven. She had the mitts that went with it, the tongs and everything. I was pro Sonia Morgan and this toaster oven. But most of that never came into fruition. And I was just thinking maybe Sonia could reach out to the people at New Wave and see if they can bring out some sort of oven and put her name on it under New Wave. I mean, it's an idea. She is Sonia Morgan of the Morgans, okay? Then they said, finally, you got your clothing line in a major store, And I smiled because she was so happy. And I believe that the rest of the girls were genuinely happy for Sonia. Sonia is a cutie, and I'm glad something good is going on in her life. Then they moved into the Dorinda montage. So there was a fan question when the fan said, Dorinda, earlier this season at the very beginning, you told Sonia that you were not carefree anymore and that you were not nice to people. They said you went throughout the season proving that you were right. You are not nice to people. Do you believe you were better by the end of the season? And she started off answering the question and having some accountability. However, by the end, she diverted everything to Ramona. She does come out and say that she was extremely overwhelmed at the beginning of the season. She was having a hard time with her home. All of the repairs and all of that stuff was bringing up memories and pain from, the situation with Richard. Then she says the breakup with John was a lot of pressure, and then she broke her ribs. Then she said that she just started to have all this pressure and anger build up, and that she believes that she possibly should have not been on this particular season. She probably should have taken a season off just so that she could get herself together. She says that she was at her absolute wit's end. Then she goes into Ramona.
And you're right, I was angry and I was struggling, and I really felt like you made it worse. And you never called me once outside the show. You never took me to dinner. All you did was remind me the whole time. Once Tinsley left the show, then Dorinda made me her punching bag. I'm sorry you did. No. And basically what happened was she came to my home for cocktails and conversation, and it was really upsetting. She said some very hurtful things. No.
Leah says that she could really tell that Dorinda was truly struggling this season. Listen, we are not even Dorinda's personal friends, but all of us, you guys, my people, I always call you guys my people, we saw that. We all saw the struggle was real for Dorinda this season. All the conversation about Richard, digging up and tearing down so much stuff at Bluestone Manor, her New York City apartment, the breaking up with John. We could see she was falling apart, and I kind of wish the girls had gotten together off camera and tried to help her in some way. Dorinda, we are filming this season, but you are coming off really terrible. Let's meet up at Bluestone Manor and have a conversation. What is going on with you? Can we get you a therapist? I'm sorry. Can we call Hannah? Something. But then when you think about it, on the flip side of that, she didn't really want to talk to them at all. She wasn't sharing as much. So maybe if they did try to talk to her, even off camera, she still would have avoided the situation. Andy said, well, Luann tried to talk to you in Mexico and you really were hard on her. She did accept responsibility for how she treated Luann. She said that she was absolutely wrong and she wished that she had not talked to Luann that way. She said Luann was coming from a good place and she knows that Luann loves her and she loves Luann as well, and that she's very sorry for the way that she acted. Leah jumps in and says she realizes that Dorinda was in pain with the breakup of John, but she wouldn't admit it. She wouldn't act like she was upset. And she says someone who's been with someone for that long of a time, there's absolutely going to be some sort of pain and, hurt behind it. And Dorinda was pushing it off and acting as if she was okay. Andy comes in and he says, well, you know what? I have to bring up the fact that you hold Tinsley to a different standard. You insisted that she share every single detail on the show, but you did not share all of your details about John on the show. And she tries to say that she did, but the girls were, not having that. You didn't share it all, and she didn't. She really didn't. Mona says once Tinsley left the show, Dorinda made her punching bag, and she goes to that thing that she does all the time. I was really hurt, and when Tinsley left the show, you made me your punching bag. You did, Dorinda, you did. I hate when she does that. Listen, use your same voice, your same face. Stop this. If Ramona, cut the crap. When she pulls out these text messages, and starts reading these text messages. Dorinda gets all upset because she says, I want my text messages. These are just one-sided, what she's reading here. And it's just like ridiculous, because then Dorinda says that Ramona used them for a free Halloween party, but I thought she used them for the free birthday party. I don't know if it was a free Halloween party too. I have no clue. I thought that Halloween party was Luann's Halloween party, or maybe Dorinda just got it mixed up. She got the birthday party confused with the Halloween party. I don't know. The ladies went back and forth, and then Ramona throws the text messages to the ground. Of course, Dorinda says that is just so no class. I mean, you don't just throw text messages to the ground like this. I mean, it was a mess. Luann then brings up the whole situation in the Berkshires and how Dorinda always throws her past up in her face. Dorinda tries to say, well, I was just really angry because you were being mean to Sonia, and Luann says, I don't want to hear about it. Don't even bring up what I was doing to Sonia, because it was to Sonia and not to you. You don't have any right to treat me this way. You know, back and forth, back and forth. So Dorinda apologizes again for her behavior in the Berkshires, her behavior in Mexico. She realizes the error of her ways. She had no business throwing up Luann's past and treating Luann like dirt. However, before she gets finished with this apology, she says, well, Luann is always lecturing me. She brought up the Mexico thing when she asked Luann what Ramona said. And Luann repeated. Luann says again, I was not lecturing you. I was repeating what Ramona said. I have no idea what is going on there. But of course, Dorinda in her makeup again. Dorinda apologizes again. Luann also brings up that on Watch What Happens Live, which I reported, Andy asked Dorinda, did she regret the way she treated Luann? And she absolutely looked into that camera and said no. And Luann said that absolutely hurt. She says, don't you look at the way you treated people this season and realize that something has to change, that you are not right? And she says that she does, and she did, and she again apologized. She does regret treating Luann the way she did. In the middle of this back and forth, Andy Cohen gets out there and starts picking up the text messages. I thought, okay, he's gonna look at these later. This man is sitting there while they're screaming and hollering back and forth. He is putting the text messages in order or something. It looks like he is taking a little time to read some of these messages. You gotta love Andy Cohen. He is a mess. He's a multitasker. Dorinda says that she is going to change. She does need to change. She's sorry again for how she treated Luann, but not Ramona. Dorinda is heated with Ramona. Cannot get a second. Dorinda is not here for Ramona. Then Andy asked Leah what her take was on Dorinda's behavior this season.
I would kind of like rather deal with someone that has anger issues than deal with someone that says horrific things like Ramona has. Because I don't think Dorinda hits below the belt.
What?
But I couldn't agree with Leah there. I couldn't agree with that Dorinda doesn't hit below the belt. I don't think so. No, ma'am. Because pretty much everything she said to Tinsley was below the belt, especially the turkey baster thing. Then the way she talks to Luann, below the belt. Some of the things that she says to Sonia is below the belt. Even Ramona, and I don't care for her that much, below the belt. Leah, come on now. I know you are always there for Dorinda. You and Dorinda are friends, but you got to be honest and fair. Honest and fair. Dorinda was below the belt quite a bit this season. And she's been below the belt a couple other seasons too. I'm not going to forget some of those comments that she made about Sonia. Then they had a talk about the Mexico trip, and when they went to lunch and she received that call from Hannah, and she felt that Ramona was really out of place talking to her like that and making that scene. She felt that Ramona just wanted to be seen and wanted to start an argument. And Leah says that she thought that Dorinda was out of place by getting angry with her and Sonia back at the house about being on their phones and their laptops. However, she thought that they were wrong for interrupting her call with her daughter. She said that's totally different. And I agree with that too. If you're getting a call from your kid, you should be able to go ahead and accept that. The girls then said, well, maybe she should have walked away from the table. Well, I think she probably could have walked away from the table because she would have been able to hear her daughter better. She would have been able to give her daughter her undivided attention, but I don't think they should have went off on her the way they did. Plus, she ended up giving as good as she got, so it made the scene pretty embarrassing because there were people there. I really hate to be embarrassed in a crowd of people. I mean, you can embarrass me privately all you want, but in front of a group of people, that ticks me off. There was a fan question that asked Dorinda, does she regret anything she did this season? And she says she regrets how she talked to Luann. She regrets the way she treated Leah on the final episode at the drag queen bingo party. And she regrets that she could not come to terms with Ramona this season. She felt that Ramona did not have her back all season. So Bethenny was on Watch What Happens Live last night, and the show starts out with Bethenny calling Andy out. She says, on part 2 of the reunion, you said that I gave you a list of 30 women to possibly be cast on the show, and that Leah was on the list as well as the casting director. She said that is not true. She said, I gave you a list of about 8 women. Leah was on the list, and the casting directors did not know Leah. They did not have her on their list. She said they had to reach out to me to get Leah's contact information. By the way, I am still waiting on that edible arrangement for this parting gift that I gave you. Thank you. I said, okay, Bethenny. And Andy says that is true. He stands corrected. He says that she did give him a list of women while she was on the Housewives. When she wasn't on the Housewives, she was always dropping some names to him. She also wanted to be very clear that she had dropped some names of some African American women as well, and they did not get picked up for the show. So all right, Bethenny coming through with a little diversity, I see. He asked her, does she, now that she's not on the show, does she talk to any of the housewives? She says on a regular basis, she talks to Dorinda and Sonia, and that's it. Then he asked her, was her and her boyfriend getting married? And she said that she was still married. And Andy's face dropped. He says, what? She says, I know. She says, I am still going through this divorce. I cannot believe this. And pretty soon she may be able to enter the Guinness Book of World Records for the world's longest divorce. Andy asked her, has she met Leah? And she said no, she has still not met Leah at all. However, she says Leah came into the show with a bang, and she said that she has made it her own, and I think she likes Leah. I think she likes what she sees on the show. There was another fan question where they wanted to know if she would ever come back to the Real Housewives, which I think we all would like to have Bethenny back. She says she would probably come back to the Real Housewives if they were to back a Brinks truck up to her gate. Show me the money is what she said. She says that she has about 15 businesses and a new TV show on HBO Max. She really does not have time to do the housewife thing. Then they played that game that they love to play called Do You Regret It? And Andy asked her, does she regret how she treated Sonia when she found out that Sonia was starting that cheater brand called Tipsy Girl. And she says she does not regret that she had the conversation with Sonia, but she does regret the way the conversation went. She never meant to hurt Sonia or have Sonia cry. She says Sonia is one of the sweetest people in the world, and she does regret that. He also asked her, does she regret the time when she had Alex McCord go back to Jill as the messenger and tell her that their friendship was over? And she says absolutely not, because that's what kept Alex on the show. Oh my gosh. That had to be the only thing that kept Alex on the show, because if my memory serves correct, she was boring and nobody liked her, did they? I don't know, get down in the comments. Andy also asked her, does she regret calling Luann the Kim Cattrall of their show? And she says absolutely not. She says she does regret calling Luann a whore, but not Kim Cattrall. Oh my gosh, I forgot that time she called Luann a whore. Actually, can we really say that time? I think she's called Luann a whore several times. He asked her, does she regret her falling out with Carol? And she says yes, she absolutely regrets that. He asked her, does she regret showing that picture to Luann of Tom at the Regency? And she said no, she absolutely does not regret that. I wouldn't regret it either. That's something Luann needed to know. Tom was absolutely bad for Luann. There was a fan question. They wanted to know if Bethenny thought that Dorinda still needed help. And she said that she spends most of her time talking to Dorinda or seeing Dorinda when they are not filming. And when they are not filming, she is perfectly fine. She is not drunk. She is not having problems. She said that she felt that at this season, Dorinda was going through a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. She was extremely upset and she was using alcohol to cope. She said that she talked to Dorinda a few times and she offered her advice, and Dorinda did not take her advice. And she thinks that things are going to be fine for Dorinda. She says a lot of doors have opened for her now that she has not been asked back to the Housewives, and she thinks that Dorinda is going to be just fine. I think she's going to be fine too. I also think she's going to be back season 14. Actually, I also think she'll be back a little bit season 13. I am pretty sure there's going to be some sort of get together or party, and Dorinda's going to be invited, I think. Andy asked her about her new show for HBO Max, and he says, I know you're going to be interviewing people and asking questions. He says, I'm going to give you a list of people. What would you ask them? And one of the people that we care about was Tinsley. And she said she would ask Tinsley, are you going to close the deal? You and Scott have been engaged for almost a year or over a year now. That's a super long engagement. What's the holdup? Personally, I did not know there was a limit on how long you could be engaged, but I do now. And I don't know. And you know what? Let people take as long as they need. You know, C19 hit. Tinsley, I'm pretty sure when she gets married, she wants to do it big. And this is not the time for her, I'm sure. Maybe 2021, 2022, we'll see Tinsley walk down the aisle. And that was it. Oh my gosh, you guys, this video was long as heck. I'm so sorry that it was that long, but I'm glad you guys hung out with me until the very end. And until next time, bye.